American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Making an appointment today with your trusted brake repair experts at GrismerTire.com.
All right, we got a traffic update now from Jake Magna.
Looks like there's a reported crash in Dayton at the intersection of Keowee and 5th Streets. That's the first crash we've had reported this morning. There are still no problems on our major highways. Traffic continues to move well. A little bit of fog, but roads are dry. With traffic every 10 minutes, I'm Jake Magnotta, WHIO Triple Team Traffic.
Well, congratulations to James from Arcanum, winning a pair of tickets to go see CC Winans with special guest Charity Gale, The Phrase, July 23rd. It's going to be a great show. Coming up, Dayton Dragons, they're on the road still. I haven't been to see a Dragons game in a while. When are they coming back home? Well, we've got that for you in 2 minutes. WHIO News Time is 6:13.
Here at WHIO, we've talked to a lot of folks recently, and the top concern you have is getting consumer information you need and want. You need to know the scams out there, how you can get ripped off, where to spend your money, and where to save money and make the most out of every dollar. That's why we're proud to have consumer warrior Clark Howard as part of the WHIO team. You'll hear his updates all day long. Clark Howard, only in Dayton on 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. Dayton's News and Talk. Depend on it.
SC Collectibles at the Piqua Center buys and sells gold and silver jewelry and coin collections. They've been the northernmost Miami Valley buying and selling leader for over 40 years. Exit 82 in Piqua. Call 937-773-0950.
Greene County Career Center's Peace Officer Basic Training Program can prepare you for the state certification exam. Academy start date is September 8th. Call the Greene County Career Center at 937-372-6941. Financial aid is available for those who qualify.
On sale now at Phrase.com or at Phrase Fanfare in the Town and Country Shopping Center. Don't miss CC Winans on her More Than This tour with special guest Charity Gale at Phrase Pavilion on Wednesday, July 23rd.
Hi everyone, Pete Kasuja here to tell you about our annual 4th of July sale. Now, we're closed on the holiday because we want to have a picnic too, but we'll have some great deals for you all week so you can spruce up your yard for your party. If you need to finish your spring project, come on out to 1309 Brant Pike. Hi everyone, Pete Kasuja here to tell you about our annual 4th of July sale. Now, we're closed on the holiday because we want to have a picnic too, but we'll have some great deals for you all week so you can spruce up your yard for your party. If you need to finish your spring project, come on out to 1309 Brant Pike.
You're waking up with the information you need to start the day. Miami Valley's morning news continues on WHIO.
Good morning. It is 6:15. I'm Ron Otto on Miami Valley's morning news with the three big things we're following for you today. Measles hitting the U.S. in the highest level in 30 years. The man shot and killed in Dayton on July 4th is identified. And our top story, recovery efforts continuing in central Texas after deadly flash flooding.
Yeah, and Ron, tensions rose between reporters and Kerrville Mayor Joe Herring Jr. during a press conference there in Texas yesterday. At least 20 people are dead and over 160 still missing after flash flooding in the south central part of that state. Fox's Chanley Painter brings us this report.
The mayor of Kerrville, Texas, laid out some ground rules saying the press conference was a, quote, disaster, and told members of the press to raise their hands like first graders if they wanted to be called on.
If you yell questions at us, we're probably going to pick someone else to answer, okay? So if you feel the need to yell your questions, I will feel the need to not answer your question.
Local officials there in Texas have been under fire for their alert system after the disastrous floods. They say they are working to get answers, but are focused on recovery efforts at the moment.
Yeah, Texas Governor Greg Abbott called for lawmakers to fund new flood warning systems, which had reportedly been proposed by local leaders, but never built because of the high costs. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, we have a special report on this developing situation from Fox's Mike Tobin, reporting for us in Kerrville, Texas. Updating this story we're following here in Dayton. The man shot and killed on July the 4th has been identified.
The coroner's office says 37-year-old O'Shea Woods was found shot on West 2nd Street and later died at the hospital. A 911 caller said Woods was wearing a ski mask at the time. Cops say he was shot at another location.
That is WHIO's Parker Tester reporting. Detectives say they've interviewed a person of interest, but no word yet on any arrests. Our news team taking a closer look at Ohio's largest job creation project.
Anduril Industries is a key Air Force vendor, and it's getting more than $300 million from the state to build a manufacturing plant in Pickaway County. We've mapped it out for you. It's about 80 miles east of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. This project is promising more than 4,000 new jobs and more than $2 billion in output every year. Anduril calls the project crucial to rebuilding the country's arsenal of military weapons and technology. Anduril wants to start building immediately once it gets state and local approval, with manufacturing starting next year.
That is News Center 7's Gabrielle Enright reporting. The Dragons taking on the Sky Carp on the road tonight.
The 6-game series is split 1-1 right now after Dayton lost yesterday after taking the first game in Beloit. The Dragons are not back home until the 18th.
That is WHIO's Will Taylor. And something you need to know this morning, measles cases in the U.S. are at their highest in more than 3 decades. WHIO's Rich Jones reports.
The CDC says the U.S. has 1,288 cases since the beginning of the year. That's higher than 2019, when there were 1,274 cases, driven by 22 outbreaks over 12 months. 18 states have seen outbreaks this year. Experts fear the U.S. may lose its status as having eliminated measles.
There are also large outbreaks of the vaccine-preventable disease in Mexico and Canada. WHIO News Time is 6:19.
Now with your 5-day weather forecast, your Storm Center 7 meteorologist, Britley Ritz.
86 degrees this afternoon, feeling more like 90 plus with an isolated storm. Friday, you'll wake up to 71 degrees and a high of 88 through the afternoon, feeling more like 95 plus with an isolated storm. Our better chances for rain, unfortunately, come for the weekend with an approaching cold front. It gets hot ahead of it. 89 on Saturday, but feeling more like 95 plus, pushing toward 100 on Saturday with the heat index. 86 on Sunday, a little bit cooler, still muggy, still raining. Quite a bit of rain. Then lingering into Monday with a few showers and rumbles of thunder with a high of 85.
A live Doppler 7 radar. No rain, but lots of humidity and lots of overcast skies. It is 70 in Centerville. It is 68 in Springfield. And it's 73 at Dayton's severe weather station.
This traffic report is sponsored by Grismer Tire and Auto Service. Is your car's AC acting up? Keep cool this summer by visiting your trusted automotive air conditioning repair experts. Breathe a little easier by making an appointment today at GrismerTire.com.
Now we'll get live traffic update with Jake Magnotta.
Fog a bit more noticeable in some areas. That includes on I-75 and Route 35 near the Dayton area, but that fog has not led to any crashes, delays, so still a nice, normal Thursday morning drive for you across the Miami Valley. With traffic every 10 minutes, I'm Jake Magnotta, WHIO Triple Team Traffic.
A country concert is going on now in Fort Loramie. The opening ceremony is set for the main stage at 3:15 this afternoon. Scotty McCreery is going to be playing, Brantley Gilbert, and then at 10 o'clock tonight, it's going to be Brad Paisley. Our impact story coming up in just a few minutes. Are those tariffs really affecting import costs? That's coming up in 3 minutes. WHIO News Time is 6:21.
WHIO has just won several Associated Press and Edward R. Murrow News Awards, including Best Radio Newscast. We don't do it for awards. We do it for you. Thanks. From WHIO, Dayton's News and Talk. This is the legendary WHIO, the king of sports in Ohio. We've got the biggest sports teams and leagues on both radio and TV. This year, we're proud to be the home of NFL with Cincinnati Bengals football on Channel 7. The Southwest Ohio home of the Cleveland Browns on WHIO Radio. The biggest Big Ten games during the season every Saturday, including Ohio State football. The CBS NFL Game of the Week. The home of University of Dayton basketball and football. The Touchdown 7 high school football games of the week. The Dayton home of March Madness, the Masters, and PGA Championship. When it comes to the absolute biggest sports brands, WHIO Radio and Television is the king of Dayton sports. WHIO, Dayton's news, talk, and sports station. This is a Consumer Warrior Clark Howard Minute.
Brand new data that I was ready to do cartwheels over, except you wouldn't want to see me do a cartwheel. But this is the middle cartwheel I'm doing. For the first time ever, the average amount, the average participant in an employer-provided 401k, the percent they're saving is almost 15%. This is fantastic, because the more you save in that employer-provided 401k, the better off you're going to be, because it's automatic. The money comes out, it builds up over time, and you're going to be so much better off. But here's the second bit of great news. More and more small employers are now offering 401ks to try to compete for workers with big companies. So participating in that 401k will change your future.
Clark is WHIO's Consumer Warrior, and you can hear him during Miami Valley's Morning News on WHIO. What is the WHIO Storm Center? It means when you hear these tones, you are just a few minutes away from emergency weather information. Weather is our number one priority. The Storm Center 7 forecast is always on the radio. 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. And when News Center 7 is in wall-to-wall weather coverage mode, you'll always hear it simulcast on WHIO radio. That means you can take your radio to your safe spot and hear exactly what's happening with severe weather. When it comes to weather, we don't mess around.
Life's better with American Family Insurance, because we know in making the most of your home, DIY doesn't just stand for do it yourself. It also means dream it yourself. And we're here to help protect the dreams you're building. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Together with the resources of News Center 7, you're on Dayton's #1 news team. Now, back to Miami Valley's Morning News on WHIO.
Good morning. I'm Ron Otto on Miami Valley's Morning News. The Wrap says Chris Pratt is set to return as the voice of Garfield. The Garfield movie, the first time around, it was a box office success, grossed over $260 million worldwide. It's 72 degrees at 6:25.
And that's 25 minutes after 6 o'clock. I'm Jeremy Ratliff. Well, our local rain chances are hit or miss through Friday.
It's a very small opportunity with this area of low pressure hanging around going into Saturday and Sunday. However, ahead of a cold front, we enhance that rain opportunity. A good shot of it Saturday afternoon and evening, but an even better chance going into Sunday. We're talking picking up 1 to 2 inches of rain. Isolated higher amounts are possible, and that rain chance actually continues on into early next week, but becomes a little more scattered.
Now, Storm Center 7 meteorologist Brittany Ritz.
This is WHIO Continuing News.
So here is a WHIO impact story, which means we go in depth on a major story for you every hour. A recent report from the Council of Economic Advisors found that the costs of imported goods have gone down this year and have fallen faster than the prices of overall goods since February. A National Economic Council Director, Kevin Hassett, joined the Will Kane Show saying that this is proof that tariffs did not cause a hike in inflation.
Inflation right now is lower than it's been by every measure in more than 4 years, and tariff revenue is through the roof.
And Democrats on Capitol Hill have been outspoken against President Trump's tariff plans, calling them chaos, with many taking action against the administration. Meanwhile, President Trump is slapping a 50% tariff on Brazil, in part because of the prosecution of the country's former president.
Imports from Brazil will be taxed 50%. In a letter to Brazil's president, President Trump tied that high tariff rate to the trial of the country's former leader, Jair Bolsonaro. Bolsonaro is accused of attempting a coup following his election loss in 2022 and has been barred from running for office until 2030. President Trump says the tariff rate going into effect on August 1st is due in part to Brazil's insidious attacks on free elections. He's described Bolsonaro's prosecution as a witch hunt that should end immediately. Several other countries have also received tariff letters ranging from 20 to 40%.
That is Fox's Jared Halpern reporting for us from the White House. WHIO News Time, 627.
Well, he helps you save more, spend less, and avoid getting ripped off. He's Dayton's consumer warrior, Clark Howard. You can get advice from Clark anytime at his website, clark.com. Now here's this morning's Clark Tip.
It's so confusing. What's going to happen when you go to buy something because of the tariffs? And some of the tariffs are indirect, meaning that they're attacking raw materials that go into making something. And others are direct, right on the item itself that you want to buy. And what you're going to see is such a mixed bag of pricing when you go to shop. One of the things that one big retailer is doing, Costco Wholesale, is they're raising prices on items that are want-to-haves, but holding the line as best they can on items that are must-haves, so that you get to decide how badly you want something that you don't have to have, but at the same time helping you with your wallet with the things you need to have. This is Clark Howard.
The WHIO Weekend Preview with what's happening around the Miami Valley. Here's Chris Hartley.
What's up, Miami Valley? Here's what's happening. Montgomery County Fair is going on all this week over at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds. This is their red, white, and bloom theme. Demolition Derby, rides, games, food, and fun. The fair is going to run through Saturday. The Philbilly Moonshine Festival, that's happening this weekend over at the Snickers Bar and Grill. That's going to be on 3rd Street in Dayton. You can meet master distillers from the TV show Moonshiners Master Distillers. They're going to have bourbon tasting, live music, food, bounce houses for the kids, and lots of fun. Doors are going to open up at noon both Friday and Saturday. The Kick a Chicken Wing Fest, that's happening over at Fray's on Saturday. Live music, food, and fun. This is a free event. Kicks off at 4 p.m. It's going to run through 10. And movies topping the box office this weekend include Jurassic World, Rebirth, F1, the movie, and How to Train Your Dragon. With your WHIO Weekend Preview, I'm Chris Hartley.
For This Week in History, I'm Ron Otto. July 7th, 1947. UFOs are sighted in Roswell, New Mexico. Supposedly. July 7th, 1928. Sliced bread is sold for the first time by Chillicothe Baking Company in Missouri.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock.
July 9th, 1955. One of the first successful rock and roll songs, Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and the Comets, hits #1 on the Billboard charts.
I've been waiting on this.
July 10th, 2018, Drake's 7 singles from his Scorpion album hit the Billboard Hot 100, breaking a record set by the Beatles.
I have tea with the stars.
And July 11th, 1967, the Cincinnati Reds' Tony Perez wins baseball's All-Star Game MVP as the National League beats the American League 2-1 in 15 innings at Anaheim Stadium.
Hunter fires a fastball and Perez rips into it for a long drive to left field. It's going, gone for a home run into the left field bleachers.
For This Week in History, I'm Ron Otto.
This is the station Dayton turns to first for live team coverage of breaking news. WHIO Dayton Springfield, celebrating 90 years of being Dayton's news and talk station. Depend on it.
Good morning. It is 6:30 on this Thursday, July 10th, 2025. I'm Ron Otto, sitting in for Larry Hansgen on Miami Valley's Morning News with the 3 big things we're following for you today. A 19-year-old woman accused of setting fire to a Dayton apartment building is now facing charges. Cops are trying to get to the bottom of a crash in Miami Township this morning. And our top story. Search and rescue teams continue to work in South Central Texas, where at least 120 people are dead and over 160 are missing because of the flash flooding.
And Ron, residents held a vigil for the victims last night. Fox's Mike Tobin has more from Kerrville, Texas.
The community around Kirk County here came together. They packed the local football stadium at the local high school with a prayer vigil. They called it the Kirk County Blessing. The volunteers and staff working to bring victims home total more than 2,000 in this area. area, just in this county alone. They include searchers with Texar, or Texas Search and Rescue, the Cajun Navy as well. Governor Greg Abbott has added 4 flood-related items to the upcoming special section of the Texas legislature. They include flood relief funding, communications, emergency communications equipment, and, of course, an early warning system.
Yeah, local leaders had reportedly proposed a flood warning system before, but it was never built because of the high costs. At least 27 people from Camp Mystic were killed by the flooding, and at least 5 campers and 1 counselor have not been found still. Now, stay tuned here as we get new details on this developing story throughout the day. We're going to bring them to you right here on your station for breaking news, 1290 and 95.7 WHIO.
Showers and storms expected across the Miami Valley. I'm Storm Center 7 meteorologist Brittany Ritz. I'll let you know when we have that best chance for rain and how much we can expect.
Traffic is moving well on all interstates across the Miami Valley for the morning drive. With traffic every 10 minutes, I'm Jake Magnotta, WHIO Triple Team Traffic.
And I'm Ron Otto. This is Miami Valley's Morning News on 1290 at 95.7 WHIO, sponsored by James Free Jewelers.
And I'm Jeremy Ratliff. Well, Ron, in Dayton, a woman is in jail this morning after she allegedly set an apartment building on fire.
The fire happened Sunday afternoon on Cambridge Avenue near Broadway Street. An investigator determined it was set intentionally. 19-year-old Riley Hines was arrested a few hours after the fire and charged with aggravated arson. She is set to appear in court July 15th.
That is WHIO's Parker Testa reporting. An area beer distributor is warning that layoffs are possible for more than 100 of its employees. Ohio Eagle Distributing, LLC, says it has agreed to sell all its assets.
If the transaction closes, it means 124 people will lose their jobs at Westchester, according to warn notices filed with the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services. It would impact a total of 178 employees, according to the filing. Ohio Eagle said it would also close its Lima facility, and that means 54 jobs will be lost per the filing. The closure is expected to be completed by September 8th.
That is WHIO's Rich Jones. Dayton City Commissioners will not be voting on a plan for a new hospital, at least for now. The Clergy Community Coalition wants to put the proposal before the voters.
The commission tabled the decision because the clerk declared the coalition's application invalid because the coalition did not follow a city ordinance requiring financial disclosure.
Now, that is News Center 7's Letitia Perry. Commissioners are now waiting on a recommendation from the city's law department. A Miami Valley educator has been named one of almost a dozen Teachers of the Year.
Lebanon Middle School math teacher Rhonda Nisbet gets the honor for District 3 in Ohio. She'll serve as an ambassador for public education in the state. 4 of the total 11 teachers named will move to the final selection phase for State Teacher of the Year.
That is WHIO's Jason Michaels reporting. And the Teacher of the Year program has celebrated teachers' effective work in and out of the classroom since 1964. I'll get this, a ban on TikTok could be avoided by creating an American-only version of the popular social platform.
President Trump has more than once extended the deadline, hoping to negotiate a different outcome for the youth-friendly social network called TikTok. He often credits with helping him win the 2024 election. That deadline now stands at September 17th. Now, ByteDance, its owner, says it will create a separate version of TikTok just for the U.S. audience, one that would operate apart from the global version and use its own algorithms. The company plans a September 5th launch, and users will now need to download a new app.
That is Fox's Eben Brown reporting. WHIO News Time, 6:35.
Well, Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow has decided not to buy the $3 million Batmobile he bragged about on HBO's Hard Knocks because of that robbery that happened at his home. He says he still feels pretty lucky, but he says, we'll see if I end up moving or not. Now the whole world knows where I live, and that's not been very fun to deal with. Well, coming up soon, a former city manager is headed to jail trying to buy sex from an undercover officer. It's coming up in 2 minutes. WHIO News Time is 6:36.
Nothing is more frustrating than sitting on 75 in traffic and not knowing what's going on. Your phone, not so helpful. That's why we're the home of Triple Team Traffic. Every 10 minutes. WHIO is Dayton's News and Talk. Depend on it. This is a Consumer Warrior Clark Howard Minute.
I want to talk about spending. A lot of people have been panic buying, worried about where prices are going. And you end up buying things that maybe you really don't need. So I want to propose something else, and that is think before you buy. And maybe just spend the rest of summer buying only what you have to have, not what you want to have. And if you stick to have-tos, not want-tos, it'll really shock you how little money you spend versus what you normally do. A lot of things we do that we spend our money on are just little treats for ourselves. You know, it's a better treat having money in your pocket.
Clark is WHIO's consumer warrior, and you can hear him during Miami Valley's morning news on WHIO.
Going to the gym can be discouraging, especially if you're putting in the work but barely seeing changes. But with Tonal, you can actually see your progress with every workout. Tonal provides the convenience of a full gym and the expertise of a personal trainer anytime at home with one sleek system. Designed to reduce your mental load, Tonal is the ultimate strength training system, helping you focus less on workout planning and more on getting results. No more second-guessing your technique. Tonal gives you real-time coaching cues to dial in your form and help you lift safely and effectively. After a quick assessment, Tonal sets the optimal weight for every move and adjusts in 1-pound increments as you get stronger, so you're always challenged. Tonal lets you choose from a variety of expert-led workouts, from strength to aero hit to yoga and mobility, to keep you coming back for more. For a limited time, go to Tonal.com to get $500 off site-wide. That's Tonal.com for $500 off site-wide. Tonal.com.
Breaking news all morning. The Storm Center 7 forecast to start your day and triple team traffic. Miami Valley's morning news continues on WHIO.
Good morning. I'm Ron Otto on Miami Valley's morning news. Take it easy out there. Some fog burning off in some parts of the Miami Valley, and the highs are going to be back into the 90s today. Really take it easy Saturday afternoon. It's supposed to be 99 for a heat index. Right now, it's only 72 degrees at 6:38.
And that is 22 minutes here ahead of 7 o'clock. I'm Jeremy Ratliff. A story we're following for you this morning. A former city official headed to jail for 6 months.
Michael pretending to be a 15-year-old. Das will spend 6 months in jail and be registered as a Tier 1 sex offender.
That is News Center 7's Gabrielle Enright. House Republicans continue investigating President Biden's time in office.
Following a deposition with Dr. Kevin O'Connor, where the former physician for President Biden pled the Fifth, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett fiercely defended the former president amid the House Oversight Committee's investigation into an alleged mental decline and cover-up.
He may get fumbled up by words, but that's not anything new, and it's not anything that came with age. We know that this is someone that was born with a stutter.
The Texas Democrat says she's more concerned about President Trump's cognitive ability, the brain capacity of a jellyfish. The committee is also planning to interview other members of the Biden administration, including former Chief of Staff Ron Klain.
That's Fox's Ryan Schmelz reporting from Capitol Hill. The U.S. has resumed shipments of weapons to Ukraine after previously pausing the shipments over concerns that stockpiles have dropped too low. And President Trump denies not knowing who ordered the pause, despite saying the opposite a day earlier.
I would know. If a decision was made, I will know. I'll be the first to know. In fact, most likely I'd give the order, but I haven't done that yet.
Now, the move comes as the president continues to criticize Russian President Putin for escalating attacks on Ukraine. Out west, a teenager has been arrested following a wildfire in coastal Southern California.
The so-called Rancho fire in Laguna Beach reached as large as 4 acres this week, luckily with no damage to structures. Police officers were able to obtain video evidence of what they describe as a juvenile suspect lighting a firework and then fleeing the scene. That 13-year-old boy was arrested on suspicion of setting off fireworks, which sparked the wildfire. The teen was released to his parents, but high heat and low humidity have added to the wildfire threat in parts of California, where already a number of wildfires are burning.
That's Fox's John Saucier.
This is WHIO Continuing News.
And HBO Max circles back to its original name.
HBO Max is back. Warner Brothers Discovery has officially rebranded its streaming service, dropping Max and returning to the original name, HBO Max. The switch went live Wednesday, as first reported by The Hollywood Reporter. The name change was teased back in May during Warner's upfront presentation, where HBO chief Casey Bloys joked, "I know you're all shocked, but the good news is I have a drawer full of stationery from the last time around."
That's funny. It's Fox's Michelle Polino there reporting. WHIO News Time, 6:41.
Now with your 5-day weather forecast, your Storm Center 7 meteorologist, Britley Ritz.
86 today, 88 tomorrow, 89 on Saturday, and 86 degrees on Sunday, and 85 on Monday. A cold front. Great. We'd like that. It gets us back to normal. The only issue is, will it stay that way? So today we have the chance for an isolated storm, doing the same thing again on Friday. Rain chances increase Saturday afternoon and evening. Best chance for rain right now looks to be Sunday, and it lingers into Monday. Talking about picking up 1 to 2 inches of rain by the time it's all said and done.
Now live Doppler 7 radar. We are seeing some cloudy skies out there. No rain showing up in the radar, at least at this point. It is currently 73 in Englewood. We're looking at 68 in Northridge and 72 degrees at Dayton's Severe Weather Station.
This traffic report is sponsored by Grismer Tire and Auto Service. Refresh your ride with brand new tires at unbeatable prices. Plus, buy 4 new tires and get 4 free oil changes, an additional $300 value. Make an appointment today at GrismerTire.com.
Now let's get a live traffic update from Jake Magnotta.
Only thing I've been seeing and talking about this morning is the fog. Foggy Thursday morning for us, but not a busy morning for us. There haven't been any crashes, no backups that you need to get around. I-75, I-70, 675, all clear at the moment. With traffic every 10 minutes, I'm Jake Magnotta, WHIO Triple Team Traffic.
After losing 10 straight games, my Cleveland Guardians just swept the American League leading Astros in Houston. Just when we thought the season was over. Baseball's a tough game to figure out. And cops are trying to figure out a crash in Huber Heights. That's coming up in 2 minutes. WHIO News Time is 6:43.
You've told us that the most important thing about our station is the weather. It's a big responsibility and something we don't take for granted. If there is ever a tornado or severe thunderstorm happening, we have a building full of Storm Center 7 meteorologists, and we'll always provide continuous news, breaking in and giving you nonstop coverage. Plus, hear the weather 24 hours a day, every 15 minutes. It's a promise from 1290 and 95.7 WHIO, Dayton's News and Talk.
This is a Consumer Warrior Clark Howard Minute.
Seems like anytime you turn on the TV, there's ad after ad after ad for auto insurers, all trying to be cutesy to try to get you to pick them over somebody else. But guess what? There's an insider kind of thing, a study of the best auto insurers, and most of them are insurers you've never heard of. Who does this study? Body shops. Body shops know when the chips are down for you after an accident, which insurers are worried about you and protecting you, and which ones are trying to get one over on you in the repair of your vehicle and fighting you to fix your vehicle right. If you go to crashnetwork.com, you can see the list of insurers, and I want to warn you, most of them you have never heard of.
Clark is WHIO's Consumer Warrior, and you can hear him during Miami Valley's Morning News on WHIO.
You are a very important person. You show up, put in the work, and bring your best to each and every day. It isn't always glamorous or easy, but it's worth it because you're building a life for yourself and those you love. That means a lot, and so do you. When you open an account at Park National Bank, you get more than you might expect. Your own personal banker and the VIP treatment you deserve. Park National Bank, where you mean more. Member FDIC.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know in making the most of your home, DIY doesn't just stand for do it yourself. It also means dream it yourself. And we're here to help protect the dreams you're building. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
The area's only all-news and talk radio station. That means we're talking about what you're talking about. Miami Valley's Morning News continues on WHIO.
Good morning. It is 6:46. I'm Ron Otto, sitting in for Larry Hansgen on Miami Valley's Morning News with the 3 big things you need to know that we're working on for you today. The man accused of killing 4 people in Butler Township in 2022 is being evaluated by doctors. The first human case of West Nile virus in Ohio is confirmed. And our top story this hour, several hundred people gathered for a worship ceremony at a high school stadium in Texas last night.
Yeah, Ron, the vigil was held to remember the at least 120 people who died in the catastrophic flash floods over the July 4th holiday.
More than 160 are still believed to be missing in hard-hit Kerr County. People in the crowd clutched one another and brushed away tears during the vigil. Search crews and volunteers are continuing to scour miles along the Guadalupe River for the people still missing. The floods are now the deadliest from inland flooding in the U.S. since 1976.
Wow, it's WHIO's Will Taylor there with that report. A new development in one of the Miami Valley's biggest murder cases.
This week, a judge heard from doctors who are treating the man accused of killing 4 people. In August of 2022, investigators say Stephen Marlowe killed Clyde and Eva Knox and Kayla and Sarah Anderson in their homes in Butler Township. The next day, crews arrested Marlowe about 10 hours away in Kansas. He has pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity. In January, a judge found Marlowe not competent to stand trial. However, the court will now decide whether Marlowe's competency can be restored.
That is News Center 7's Gabrielle Enright. Well, to Huber Heights, we've learned that 2 people are sent to a hospital after a 3-vehicle crash that happened Tuesday night.
Multiple officers and medics were sent to State Route 202 and Taylorsville Road just after 10. Cops tell us the driver ran a red light, causing the crash. 1 person suffered a possible serious injury. 2 others suffered minor injuries.
That is WHIO's Jason Michaels. Impairment is not suspected as a factor. The first case of West Nile virus in a human in Ohio this year has now been confirmed.
And that's according to the Fulton County Health Department. Last night, the health department announced that a Fulton County resident has the virus. The Ohio Department of Health has also confirmed the case.
That is WHIO's Rich Jones. Secretary of State Marco Rubio wants to talk security on his first official trip to Asia, but his hosts are worried about trade.
Secretary Rubio's main reason for visiting Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia is to attend the ASEAN Security Conference. But President Trump's threat of tariffs threatens to overshadow the visit. At least 8 countries targeted for trade taxes will be present at the conference, and Malaysia's Prime Minister has warned global trade is being weaponized. The State Department, though, says Secretary Rubio's focus will be on Chinese aggression in the South China Sea. The Trump administration wants to prioritize maritime safety and security.
That is Fox's Jonathan Savage reporting for us this morning. WHIO News Time is now 6:49.
Now with your 5-day weather forecast, your Storm Center 7 meteorologist, Britley Ritz.
86 degrees this afternoon, feeling more like 90 plus with an isolated storm. Friday, you'll wake up to 71 degrees and a high of 88 through the afternoon, feeling more like 95 plus with an isolated storm. Our better chances for rain, unfortunately, come for the weekend with an approaching cold front. It gets hot ahead of it. 89 on Saturday, but feeling more like 95 plus, pushing toward 100 on Saturday with the heat index. 86 on Sunday, a little bit cooler, still muggy, still raining. Quite a bit of rain. Then lingering into Monday with a few showers and rumbles of thunder with a high of 85.
Live Doppler 7 radar. Still no rain showing up this morning. Overcast skies. You'll see some fog burning off in some parts of the Miami Valley as well. It is 73 in Huber Heights, 68 in Xenia, still holding true at 72 at Dayton Severe Weather Station.
This traffic report is sponsored by Grismer Tire and Auto Service. Expert brake repair you can trust. Make sure you can stop when you need to the most. Get a little peace of mind by making an appointment today with your trusted brake repair experts at GrismerTire.com.
We get a traffic update now from Jake Magnotta.
Well, despite it being a foggy Thursday, we continue to move well on all highways. Some areas where that fog is more noticeable right now would be on I-75 in Dayton and north and south of the city. Also on 675 in Beaver Creek and Fairborn and I-70 near Springfield. With traffic every 10 minutes, I'm Jake Magnotta, WHIO Triple Team Traffic.
Well, it is high summer. That means it's fair season. Fairs are going on in Montgomery, Logan, and Clinton counties today. And later on this afternoon, if you go on, drink lots of fluids because it's going to be pretty warm out there. And coming up, aren't there any new ideas from Hollywood? I'll have that coming up in 3 minutes. WHIO News Time is 6:51.
I know it's scary to hear someone tell you to get in your safe spot during a storm. But aren't you glad we're here to say it? Live Storm Center 7 coverage during any weather situation. WHIO, Dayton's News and Talk. Depend on it.
I'm Ron Otto with my sports rundown, my take on the big stories in sports, or in this case this week, just a collection of random thoughts on sports. Soccer. I know we call it soccer. It's called football everywhere else in the world. Doesn't really matter. I'm not a big fan. The NFL team in Jacksonville. It's pronounced Jaguars. Jaguars, not Jaguars. There's no I in Jaguars. Stop it already. Yes, I did watch the UFL this season. I even watched and enjoyed the championship game, at least until it became a blowout, and I plan to watch it again next spring. I don't care what his father is like or what kind of a distraction you think he will be, and I especially don't care if you're still wacko for Flacco. Shedeur Sanders could very well be the starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns this season, and he could still become that franchise quarterback we've all been so desperate for. I'm Ron Otto, and that's my rundown.
With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here. American Family Insurance can help protect your dream home for whatever comes next. You can live in your own oasis or your own clubhouse. Whatever you choose, get the right coverage. Save up to 23% by bundling home and auto. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
At Grand Canyon University, we believe in equal opportunity, and the American dream starts with purpose. By honoring your sacred vocation of nursing, you impact your family, your friends, and your community. GCU's RN to BSN online degree program allows you the freedom to balance online coursework with practicum hours while helping you achieve your goals and serve others. Find your purpose at GCU. Private, Christian, affordable. Visit gcu.edu.
Are you over 50 and constantly feeling tired, bloated, or just a little off? Don't ignore it. Those could be signs that your liver is crying for help. As we age, our liver, which is essential for metabolism, digestion, immunity, and detoxification, needs extra support and protection. If neglected, it can leave you feeling sluggish and constantly off your game. That's where Active Liver from New Nordic comes in. Available in easy-to-take tablets or delicious gummies, Active Liver combines powerful natural ingredients like turmeric, milk thistle, and globe artichoke extract to help support healthy liver function. With Active Liver, you're giving your body an essential daily defense against toxins from alcohol, fatty foods, and sweets, helping you reclaim your energy, improve digestion, lose the bloat, and strengthen your immunity so you can look and feel your best again. Protect your liver and give it the support that it deserves by making Active Liver from New Nordic part of your daily wellness routine. Find Active Liver in stores at your local CVS, Meijer Grocery, or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Letter 7 means you'll know first. This is Miami Valley's Morning News on WHIO.
Good morning, I'm Ron Otto on Miami Valley's Morning News. It may not escape the 80s today, it was upper 80s, but it'll feel like it's in the 90s. Humidity coming back into the area, and Britley Ritz is telling us that Saturday afternoon, it'll feel like in the upper 90s. It's going to be pretty warm. Good time to go see a movie, but I told you earlier that Chris Pratt's going to be reprising his role as Garfield, and the voice of Garfield in the next movie coming up. Also, we're seeing a lot of remakes at the theater. We got Jurassic World this week. Superman is out, I believe, next week. They're talking about reimagining Night at the Museum. Is this a good or a bad idea, Jeremy? I mean, this feels like there's no new ideas in Hollywood.
Reimagining Night at the Museum, I feel like that's not that long ago. You know what I mean? It's not like a movie from the 40s or 50s we need to bring back. I think there's, didn't Ben Stiller make 3 of those movies?
I believe so.
Yeah. And I suppose there's an overabundance of museums, though. You know, you could go from museum to museum to museum. There's probably plenty more that are like, hey, we'll take the We'll take the promotion.
Think of the mayhem they could get into in the bicycle museum. That would be insane.
Especially with Pee Wee Herman's bike.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Will Taylor, what's your take on all this?
I agree. I don't know. It just seems like there's a constant flow of more. Oh, this guy played Superman. Oh, nope. He only got to do one movie. Now we're going to recast him and do a whole. So my hope, and I actually am kind of interested to see this Superman movie. I'm interested to see how long this all lasts for before they say, all right, scratch it, let's start all over.
It's funny because if you asked me before the Superman movie, I'd probably say, okay, there's so many Superman movies, but there's a new one, and guess what? I already bought my ticket. So,
I walked into the room and my wife's watching a Spider-Man. I'm like, wait a minute, who is this guy? I've had like 5 different Spider-Men in the last 10 years. I don't know. It's not a bad idea. I had heard Jeff Gordon, former NASCAR driver, says, according to him, that Tom Cruise told him that Days of Thunder 2 is in the works.
Oh, okay.
I'm quite excited.
I bet. Yeah, that's one to keep on the old radar.
That's in my wheelhouse right there. That was high school days when the first Days of Thunder came out. So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, love it.
Is this, I know... Well, I don't know if you're a younger viewer. You never, if you're somebody who's, younger than Will here, you've probably never seen. You've certainly heard of Days of Thunder. But some of these other ideas from, 70s, 80s, and early 90s, they may not know what they are. So doing a remake of them, gets a new generation into it.
Yeah,
I do agree with that. Yeah, because there's tons of movies that have never seen, and it's like, well, maybe if I've never seen The Godfather, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I should see the original, but if they were to do something that's like, all right, maybe catered towards my generation and younger.
But
Speaking of The Godfather, but is there a movie that's untouchable though?
Oh, yeah, good question.
You know what I mean? Because my first thought was The Godfather.
Yeah, that was a bad example for me to use.
Yeah, chew on that.
Yeah.
Chew on that.
Yeah.
That's a good question. Well, and here at the top of the hour, we are going to get the latest on what's going on down in Texas with search and recovery efforts that are going on there. WHIO News Time is 6:58.
What is the WHIO Storm Center? It means when you hear these tones, you are just a few minutes away from emergency weather information. Weather is our #1 priority. The Storm Center 7 forecast is always on the radio. 1290 and 95.7 WHIO. And when News Center 7 is in wall-to-wall weather coverage mode, you'll always hear it simulcast on WHIO radio. That means you can take your radio to your safe spot and hear exactly what's happening with severe weather. When it comes to weather, we don't mess around.
At Walden University, we get the W. We're not here to have our hands held. We're here to lend ours. Because we want to create positive change on the world around us. And Walden University teaches us the skills to make it happen on our time. Now, it's your time. Learn the skills, make an impact, get the W. Walden University. Set a course for change. Visit waldenu.edu to learn more. Certified to operate by Chef.
Elevate your kitchen or bathroom with breathtaking countertops from Stone Center of Dayton. Explore our large indoor inventory of granite and quartz, and now featuring a large selection of quartzites. We're locally owned and operated and offer in-house design help. Visit us at stonecenterofdayton.com.
This is the station Dayton turns to first for live team coverage of breaking news. WHIO Dayton Springfield, celebrating 90 years of being Dayton's news and talk station. Depend on it.
Good morning. It is 7 o'clock on this morning of July 10th, 2025, Thursday morning for you. I'm Ron Otto, sitting in for Larry Hanskin, who's on vacation, on Miami Valley's Morning News with the 3 big things we're following for you today. A 19-year-old woman accused of setting fire to a Dayton apartment building is now facing charges. A member of a local motorcycle gang is headed to prison. And our top story today, we are back to Central Texas, where search and recovery efforts continue.
And Ron, there's efforts continuing now days after the deadly flooding we've been reporting on. Fox's Kristen Goodwin has more.
Fredericksburg Fire Chief Lynn Bizzle detailing efforts to remove debris from an 8-mile stretch of the Guadalupe River following the devastating flooding.
We have 300 people working. We have all the heavy equipment that we can muster up to try to remove that debris We are finding vehicles and RVs deep inside the debris that you can't even see from the outside.
Speaking in Ingram, Texas, stressing officials are doing everything they can to find those who are still missing and sharing his thanks for what he calls a tractor-trailer load of donations.
The donations that we've received just in Ingram is phenomenal.
Yeah, more than 160 still believed to be missing in hard-hit Kirk County. A vigil was held last night to remember the at least 120 people who died in the flash floods over the July 4th holiday. Of course, you're going to want to stay tuned right here as we get new details on this developing story. We're going to keep bringing them to you right here on your station for breaking news, 1290 and 95.7 WHIO.
High temperatures climbing back up toward 90 degrees. I'm Storm Center 7 meteorologist Britley Ritz. I'll let you know if we have some cooler air in sight.
Looks like there's a crash reported on the exit ramp from 75 South to Springboro Pike in Moraine. We're slow on that ramp, and we're slow in the construction area now. 35 West near 675 in Beaver Creek. With traffic every 10 minutes, I'm Jake Magnotta, WHIO Triple Team Traffic.
This is Miami Valley's Morning News on 1290 at 95.7 WHIO. I'm Ron Otto.
And I'm Jeremy Ratliff. Well, Ron, a teenager, is going to be back in court next week to face arson charges.
Right now, 19-year-old Riley Hines is in the Montgomery County Jail. Prosecutors charged her with arson in connection with a fire that happened Sunday on Cambridge Avenue.
That is News Center 7's Gabrielle Enright. A member of a motorcycle gang involved in multiple crimes has now been sentenced.
Michael Scott Henry, a member of the Thug Riders Motorcycle Club, has been sentenced to 30 months in prison and 3 years of supervised release. The club is accused of profiting from organized crime and multiple assaults and shootings at Dayton bars and rival gang clubhouses. A grand jury indicted Henry and 13 other members last summer.
That is WHIO's Parker Testa reporting. A local man working to restore an overgrown cemetery that's home to hundreds of people, including Revolutionary War veterans.
The Rector Guard Cemetery is near the intersection of Storms Creek Road and Upper Valley Pike on the edge of Champaign County. John Zerkley said he made it his mission to figure out a way to clean up the graveyard and make it more accessible for those who want to visit. There are 287 people buried at this cemetery. That includes 7 veterans, 6 from the Revolutionary War, and 1 from the War of 1812.
That is WHIO's Rich Jones. I get this. Out on the West Coast, all 31 workers that were trapped after an industrial tunnel in the Wilmington neighborhood in Los Angeles collapsed last night have been rescued. The Los Angeles County Sanitation District's chief engineer and general manager explaining how the workers were able to be rescued despite a section of the tunnel workers had already built partially collapsed.
It didn't completely fill the tunnel, so the men were able to come back to that point, come through that collapse, and get into a vehicle that brought them out to the shaft site.
Yeah, none of the workers had any visible injuries, according to the Los Angeles Fire Department. That's the good news. And the Wright State men's basketball team is going to reunite with a former Horizon League rival this upcoming season.
The Raiders will play the Butler Bulldogs on November 28th at Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. The schools announced this will be their first meeting since February of 2012.
That report from WHIO's Will Taylor this morning. WHIO News Time is 7:05.
Well, some Walmarts have started locking up socks behind glass due to the shoplifting they're experiencing. Shoppers have to call attendants to open the cases so they can buy socks. But coming up, a local city is into AI, hoping to improve your recycling pickup. That's coming up in 2 minutes. WHIO News Time is 7:05.
Nobody likes to be told what to think. That's why we're careful to make sure our news is right down the middle. Both sides and all viewpoints. Then you decide what you think about it. Dayton's News and Talk is WHIO. Depend on it.
For this week in history, I'm Ron Otto. July 7th, 1947. UFOs are sighted in Roswell, New Mexico. Supposedly. July 7th, 1928, sliced bread is sold for the first time by Chillicothe Baking Company in Missouri.
1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock.
July 9th, 1955, one of the first successful rock and roll songs, Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and the Comets, hits #1 on the Billboard charts.
I've been waiting on this.
July 10th, 2018, Drake's 7 singles from his Scorpion album hit the Billboard Hot 100, breaking a record set by the Beatles. And July 11th, 1967, the Cincinnati Reds' Tony Perez wins baseball's All-Star Game MVP as the National League beats the American League 2-1 in 15 innings at Anaheim Stadium.
Hunter fires a fastball and Perez rips into it for a long drive to left field. It's gone for a home run into the left field bleachers.
For This Week in History, I'm Ron Otto.
The WHIO Weekend Preview with what's happening around the Miami Valley. Here's Chris Hartley.
What's up, Miami Valley? Here's what's happening. Montgomery County Fair is going on all this week over at the Montgomery County Fairgrounds. This is their red, white, and bloom theme. Demolition Derby, rides, games, food, and fun. The fair is going to run through Saturday. The Philbilly Moonshine Festival, that's happening this weekend over at the Snickers Bar and Grill. That's going to be on 3rd Street in Dayton. You can meet master distillers from the TV show Moonshiners Master Distillers. They're going to have bourbon tasting, live music, food, bounce houses for the kids, and lots of fun. Doors are going to open up at noon both Friday and Saturday. The Kick a Chicken Wing Fest, that's happening over at Fray's on Saturday. Live music, food, and fun. This is a free event. Kicks off at 4 p.m. It's going to run through 10. And movies topping the box office this weekend include Jurassic World, Rebirth, F1, the movie, and How to Train Your Dragon. With your WHIO Weekend Preview, I'm Chris Hartley.
Dayton, you're waking up with the information you need to start the day. Miami Valley's morning news continues on WHIO.
Good morning, I'm Ron Otto on Miami Valley's Morning News. Country concert underway in Fort Loramie. The opening ceremony set for 3:15 on the main stage. Scotty McCreery, Brantley Gilbert tonight, and at 10 o'clock, Brad Paisley highlights the show. It is 73 degrees in Dayton at 7:08.
And that is 8 minutes after 7 o'clock. I'm Jeremy Ratliff. Well, Ron, get this. A local city is utilizing AI to improve curbside recycling.
The city of Centerville announced that some recycling trucks now have cameras that will scan what is inside recycling bins. You can find out more about this process at WHIO.com.
Yeah, that is WHIO's Will Taylor reporting. Meanwhile, in Miami County, police say 4 young people are responsible for damage at a park's restroom.
City of Piqua says it spent more than $8,000 to fix the bathrooms at Lock 9. Police said they found the kids that did this. They're now facing felony charges. Now, the city said people have also damaged part of the park's stage. They're trying to get all the damage fixed in time for a concert at Lock 9, July 18th.
That report from News Center 7's Gabrielle Enright. The Trump administration is suing California, accusing that state of violating Title IX by allowing transgender athletes to compete on women's teams. Fox's Matt Finn breaks it all down for us this morning.
The Trump administration suing the state's Department of Education over ongoing alleged Title IX violations. The complaint is asking for a court order to immediately stop biological males from playing in female sports. The lawsuit alleges California is thwarting President Trump's executive order prohibiting men in women's sports and is violating Title IX. California law allows students to play on teams according to the gender they identify with. The Trump administration is seeking a court order that would prevent schools from complying with that law.
Now, on a trip to South Carolina, California Governor Gavin Newsom reiterated that he feels it's unfair to allow trans athletes to compete in sports, but condemned Republicans for insulting trans people. Some good news for renters that are looking to buy a home right now.
The Federal Housing Finance Agency says Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac can now use what's called a Vantage score that incorporates your rent payment history to determine if you qualify for a mortgage. Historically, about 2 million people each year get the keys to their very first home, but last year that number sank to an all-time low, 1.1 million.
Yeah, Fox Business Network's Lauren Simonetti there reporting.
This is WHIO Continuing News.
So any Jaws fans out there? Jaws at 50, the definitive inside story, takes a behind-the-scenes look at the iconic 1975 film.
Marking 50 years since the movie was released, Jaws at 50, the definitive inside story, tells the tale of how Steven Spielberg's first film changed cinema forever. Spielberg opens up about the blockbuster that terrified and thrilled the world, from Peter Benchley's best-selling novel to Spielberg's iconic film.
Yeah, I might have to check that out myself. It's Fox's Michelle Polino reporting. WHIO News Time is 7:11.
Now with your 5-day weather forecast, here's Storm Center 7 meteorologist Britley Ritz.
86 today, 88 tomorrow, 89 on Saturday, and 86 degrees on Sunday, and 85 on Monday. A cold front. Great. We'd like that. It gets us back to normal. The only issue is, will it stay that way? So today we have the chance for an isolated storm, doing the same thing again on Friday. Rain chances increase Saturday afternoon and evening. Best chance for rain right now looks to be Sunday, and it lingers into Monday. Talking about picking up 1 to 2 inches of rain by the time it's all said and done.
Live Doppler 7 radar. Right now it's overcast around the Miami Valley. No rain showing up on here, though. It's 70 in Fairborn. Looking at 72 in Englewood and 73 degrees at Dayton's Severe Weather Station.
This traffic report is sponsored by Grismer Tire and Auto Service. Is your car's AC acting up? Keep cool this summer by visiting your trusted automotive air conditioning repair experts. Breathe a little easier by making an appointment today at GrismerTire.com.
Let's get a live traffic update now with Jake Magnato.
Ron,